The sirens you hear in the distance are not just a drill. The flickering lights in our major cities and the sudden, unexplained volatility in your bank app are not glitches in the system. They are the first tremors of a structural failure that has been decades in the making. But while the masses are rushing to the grocery stores in a state of blind panic, I have a very specific, very urgent message for the chosen ones. Stay inside. Do not leave your post. The real collapse has begun. And it is not looking like what the movies told you it would. It is quieter. It is more calculated. And it is designed to flush you out of your position of strength. You need to understand the logic of the hour. We are no longer in the phase of warning. We have entered the phase of execution. The global elites, the architects of this controlled demolition, have realized that they cannot break the spirit of the American people as long as the chosen ones are standing firm. So, they have initiated a master plan to create a vacuum of chaos. They want you to run. They want you to join the frantic herds in the streets, looking for answers from the very systems that caused the fire. But Archangel Michael is standing at your threshold, and his command is clear. Maintain your perimeter. Why stay inside? Because the outside world has become a theater of deception. Every news broadcast, every social media alert, and every orchestrated crisis is a flashbang designed to blind your spiritual sight. If they can get you to leave your place of peace, they can get you to surrender your authority. The real collapse is not just about the dollar or the power grid. It is about the collapse of the false reality that has kept humanity enslaved for generations. As this old world crumbles, the debris is lethal. You must stay under the shadow of the Almighty. You must stay within the spiritual fortress that you have been building in secret. Look at the patterns. In March 2026, we are seeing things that would have been unthinkable 5 years ago. The supply chains are being severed not by accidents, but by policy. The information you receive is being filtered through layers of artificial intelligence designed to trigger your fight-or-flight response. When you are in flight mode, you cannot lead. When you are in fight mode without a strategy, you are just a casualty. Archangel Michael is here to give you the tactical pause. He is telling you to lock your doors, both your physical doors and the doors of your mind. The elite think they have the chosen ones cornered. They think that by squeezing the economy and turning neighbor against neighbor, they will force you to kneel. They are waiting for you to leave your internal sanctuary and beg for their digital solutions. But they have made a fatal error in their calculations. They don't realize that a chosen one inside is a chosen one in direct communication with the headquarters of heaven. While the world is screaming, you are listening to the still small voice that says, "This is the way, walk in it." The real collapse is a sifting. It is the moment where the wheat is separated from the chaff. If you leave your post now, you risk being swept up in the chaff. There is a specific protection promised to those who know how to dwell in the secret place. In the book of Psalms, chapter 91, it talks about 1,000 falling at your side and 10,000 at your right hand. But it shall not come near you. This is not a metaphor. This is a strategic promise for this exact moment in American history. But that promise is contingent on where you dwell. If you are out there chasing every rumor and reacting to every fear-mongering headline, you are not dwelling. You are wandering. This is the 3rd time the signal has been sent to the remnant. The first was a whisper of preparation. The second was a nudge to gather resources. This 3rd signal is the lockdown of the spirit. It means the window for debate is closed. The lines have been drawn. The globalists are moving their final pieces into place. They want a great reset, but God is preparing a great removal. The things that are not built on the rock are being shaken until they turn to dust. Stay inside and watch, not with fear, but with the eyes of a strategist. When the world's systems fail, the kingdom's systems become visible. When the expert advice leads to a dead end, your divine intuition will lead to a breakthrough. You have been trained for this. The years of isolation, the years of feeling like an outsider in your own country that was all stealth training. You were being hidden so that you would be ready for the day the lights went out. The collapse of the old order is the birth pangs of the new restoration. But birth is a violent, messy process. You don't stand in the middle of a construction site while the old building is being imploded. You stand back. You find cover. You stay inside the grace that has been allotted to you. Archangel Michael is standing as a sentinel over your household. He is not just protecting your physical space. He is guarding the frequency of truth that you carry. The enemy wants to export his chaos into your home. He wants you to bring the panic of the streets into your living room. Do not let him. Turn off the noise. Silence the sirens of the world. This is a time for deep intel. This is a time to consult the master plan. You are about to see the greatest hand of God move in human history. But you will miss it if you are too busy trying to save a sinking ship. The ship of the world is going down. Let it go. Your job is to man the lifeboat. But there is a very specific reason why they are trying to lure you out right now. There is a bait. They are using a specific type of crisis that is designed to tug at your heartstrings and make you act impulsively. If you take the bait, you leave the zone of protection. In the next part, we are going to expose what that bait looks like and why staying inside is your only unfair advantage in the face of the total collapse. The general is calling for a standoff. He is calling for the chosen to stay put and see the salvation of the Lord. The real collapse has begun. But for the chosen, this is not the end. It is the beginning of the occupation. Stay with me, because what I am about to reveal about the next 72 hours of this collapse will change your entire strategy for survival. The air outside is thick with the scent of desperation. But inside your perimeter, the atmosphere must remain sovereign. You see, the enemy's greatest fear is not a chosen one who fights, but a chosen one who cannot be moved. When you stay inside, you are not hiding. You are entrenching. Yet in the art of war, the one who holds the high ground and refuses to be baited into the valley of chaos is the one who dictates the terms of the engagement. The globalists have spent trillions of dollars building a theater of the mind, and right now, the curtains are falling. The real collapse is accelerating, and the first thing to go is the illusion of safety. Why are they so desperate to get you out of your house and out of your peace? Because a chosen one who stays inside the presence of the Creator is an untapped power source that they cannot regulate. They can regulate your bank account. They can regulate your travel. They can even try to regulate your breathing with their mandates. But they cannot regulate a spirit that is anchored in the secret place. This is why the bait I mentioned is being deployed right now. The bait is the orchestrated emergency. They will create a scenario, perhaps a localized shortage, a manufactured civil unrest, or a sudden health alert in your specific zip code that demands you report to a designated location. They will tell you it is for your safety. They will tell you it is for the greater good. But the general of the heavenly host is whispering a different command. Do not go. Remember what happened in the days of Noah. The people were eating and drinking, buying and selling, until the very day Noah entered the ark. The ark was a place of staying inside. To those on the outside, it looked like a prison. To those on the inside, it was the only place of freedom in a drowning world. The collapse we are witnessing in 2026 is a controlled implosion of the old financial guard. They are burning down the barn to catch the rats. But they don't care if the chosen ones are still inside the barn. That is why you must move your operating system off their grid. Staying inside means more than just physical walls. It means emotional and financial insulation. Have you noticed the sudden urge to simplify your life? Have you felt the push to get your house in order, to clear the clutter, and to focus on the essentials? That is not just a lifestyle trend, that is tactical preparation. Archangel Michael is helping you strip away the dead weight, because where we are going, you need to be light on your feet. The real collapse is also a collapse of the mainstream narrative. For years, the elite have used the media to tell you what to think, who to hate, and what to fear. But as the systems fail, the masks are slipping. You are starting to see the puppeteers behind the screen, and they are not as powerful as they want you to believe. They are small, arrogant men who are terrified of the sleeping giant that is the American spirit. They know that if the chosen ones stay inside their faith and refuse to participate in the panic economy, the elite lose their battery. They feed on your fear. They thrive on your compliance. When you stay inside and say no, you are cutting off their oxygen. Think about the logic of the red zone. In any disaster, there is a zone of maximum impact. The enemy wants to turn every American city into a red zone. They want to turn your neighborhood into a conflict theater. But you have a blueprints of protection that they don't have access to. Michael is the prince of geographic grace. He can put a cloak of invisibility over a household that is in alignment with the king. There are stories coming out, true stories of people who stayed inside during riots, and the looters literally couldn't see their front door. They walked right past it. That is the unfair advantage of the chosen. That is what happens when you follow the order of the general. But let's talk about the mental collapse. This is the part they don't want you to see coming. As the old world dies, the psychological pressure on those who are outside the grace of God will be unbearable. You will see people losing their minds over things that don't matter. You will see a level of irrationality that defies logic. This is why you must stay inside. If you go out there and try to argue with the delusion, you will only get infected by the spirit of confusion. And you cannot save someone who is in love with their chains. Your job is to stay inside the light and be a lighthouse. A lighthouse doesn't run out into the ocean to save the ships. It stays on the rock and shines. The general is calling for a sanctified separation. This is the third time he has signaled the chosen to hunker down in the Bible. 3 is the number of resurrection. Before the resurrection, there was the tomb. The tomb was a place of staying inside. It looked like a defeat. It looked like the end of the story. But inside that quiet, dark place. The greatest power in the universe was being compressed for an explosion of life. You are in your tomb phase. You are being hidden. You are being pressed. But don't you dare think you are being buried. You are being planted. The real collapse is just the plowing of the field. The farmer has to tear up the ground before the new crop can grow. If you are a seed, the plowing looks like a catastrophe. But if you are the farmer, the plowing looks like opportunity. Michael is the farmer's general. He is overseeing the tearing down of the high places of the globalist elite. He is dismantling their digital towers of Babel. And while he does that, he wants his priceless seeds, the chosen ones, to stay inside the safety of the soil. Do not be moved by the signs in the sky or the rumors of war. Yes, the world is on fire. Yes, the old guard is screaming as it loses its grip. But you are not a citizen of the old guard. You are a pioneer of the new restoration. Your instructions are different. Your supply line is different. Your general is Michael. And he has never lost a battle. He is telling you that the next 72 hours and the months that follow will be the greatest sifting in human history. Stay inside your peace. If you lose your peace, you lose your comms with heaven. If you lose your comms, you are just another person in the dark. Protect your quiet at all costs. Turn off the fear feed. Stop checking the collapse counters. Look at the word. Look at your family. Look at the mission that has been placed in your hands. You are the holdouts. You are the keepers of the flame. In the next part, we are going to look at the specific provisions that are being released to the chosen who stay inside. We are going to talk about the manna of 2026 and how the leader-led strategy is going to provide for your household when the store shelves are empty. The collapse is real, but the covenant is more real. The general is checking the roll call. Are you at your post? Are you inside the grace? The shift is accelerating. The systems of man are built on the sand of confidence, and that sand is washing away as the tide of the great sifting comes in. But for the chosen one who stays inside, the economy is not governed by the Federal Reserve or the whims of globalist bankers. It is governed by the law of the kingdom. This is the third stage of our tactical briefing, the provision of the perimeter. When Archangel Michael tells you to stay inside, he isn't asking you to starve. He is inviting you to experience a divine logistics that the world cannot understand and certainly cannot intercept. Think about the logic of the siege. Throughout history, when an enemy wanted to break a city, they surrounded it and cut off the supply lines. They wanted to starve the people into submission. The global elites are trying a digital siege right now. They want to cut off your access to your funds, your food, and your fuel unless you bow to their digital ID or their social credit systems. They want you to feel the squeeze so that you will leave your faith perimeter and crawl back to them for a handout. But the general of the Lord's army is a master of the airdrop. Remember the prophet Elijah during the drought? The whole nation was in a real collapse. There was no rain, no crops, and a corrupt leadership that hated the truth. But Elijah followed the internal command. He stayed by the brook Cherith. He stayed inside the geographic location God assigned to him. And what happened? The ravens, birds that usually steal food, brought him bread and meat every morning and every evening. That is the unfair advantage of the chosen. When you stay inside the will, The very elements of nature are commanded to serve your survival. The real collapse is exposing the fragility of the modern world. Most people are 3 days away from total desperation because they have no internal reservoir. They rely 100% on the grid. But as a chosen one, you have been training for off-grid living in your spirit for years. You have been learning how to hear the voice, how to discern the shift, and how to manage the anointing. Now, that spiritual training is manifesting in the physical. Archangel Michael is the quartermaster of the heavens. He is overseeing the distribution of manna for the 2026 season. What does this manna look like? It looks like strategic connections. While the world is isolated and lonely, you will find yourself randomly meeting the exact person who has the resource you need. It looks like supernatural multiplication. You will look at your supplies, and they will seem to last longer than the laws of physics allow. It looks like financial immunity. And while the dollar is being devalued by the minute, the kingdom currency, which is obedience, is gaining massive purchasing power. Every time you obey the command to stay inside your peace, your account in heaven releases another installment of grace. The enemy is trying to bait you out with the mirage of scarcity. They want you to look at the empty shelves on the news and panic. They want you to leave your post to go join the scramble. But if you stay inside, you will realize that scarcity is a globalist lie. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. There is plenty for the faithful. The problem is not a lack of resources, it is a lack of alignment. When you are aligned with Michael, you are aligned with the one who holds the keys to the storehouses of the snow and the treasuries of the wind. Look at the leader-led strategy of the archangel. Michael doesn't just protect individuals, he protects households in the Bible. When the destroyer went through Egypt, the only thing that stopped him was the blood on the doorpost. That was a stay-inside command. The people inside weren't better than the people outside, they were simply aligned. They stayed behind the mark. Right now, the blood of the covenant is your doorpost. As the real collapse tears through the structures of our society, it has to pass over the house of the chosen one. But staying inside also means protecting the frequency. The enemy is using 5G and digital signals to broadcast a frequency of fear. It is a literal physical vibration that causes the human heart to fail for fear. If you leave your spiritual perimeter, you become vulnerable to this signal. But inside the glory, there is a frequency of victory. It is the sound of the Lion of Judah roaring. It is the sound of the heavenly host marching. When you stay inside that frequency, your immune system stays strong, your mind stays sharp, and your will to win becomes unbreakable. The elite think they can reset the world in their image. They have their smart cities and their 15-minute prisons ready. They want to herd the population into controlled environments where every move is tracked. But they didn't account for the wild card of the chosen. They didn't account for the people who would choose a cottage with God over a penthouse with the beast. By staying inside your own sovereign territory, you are creating dead zones in their surveillance grid. They can't track a person who is hidden in Christ. They can't predict a person who follows the spontaneous command of the Spirit. This is the great decoupling. We are separating from a death culture and entering a life culture. The collapse is not something to be feared. It is something to be managed. You are the project managers of the new restoration. While the old world is imploding, you are mapping out the foundations of the new. You are the keepers of the seeds. You are the guardians of the ancient paths. Archangel Michael is standing at your gate right now. He is not just looking out at the enemy. He is looking in at you. He is checking your readiness. He is asking, are you content with me? Are you willing to stay inside the hidden phase until the signal of the shout is given? This is the third time the instruction of the interior has been issued. In the Bible, 3 is the number of completeness. The circle of protection is now complete. Do not let the digital sirens pull you away. Do not let the false hunger drive you into the arms of the beast. Stay inside the grace. Stay inside the word. Stay inside the fellowship of the remnant. The real collapse is the great opportunity for the real church to rise. The general is holding the line. The supplies are being moved into place. In the next part, we are going to look at the counter-strike from within. We are going to talk about how staying inside is actually the starting point for a spiritual offensive that will dismantle the enemy's strongholds from the inside out. The lockdown of the chosen is the meltdown of the elite. Can you hear the silent roar? The atmosphere is changing. The commander is giving the order. The world is obsessed with movement. But the kingdom is obsessed with positioning. The enemy wants you to believe that if you aren't running, shouting, or reacting, you are losing. But the general of the Lord's army knows that the most devastating blow is often delivered from a state of perfect stillness. This is the 4th stage of our tactical briefing, the offensive of the interior. When you follow the command to stay inside, you are not just waiting for the storm to pass, you are becoming the eye of the storm. The real collapse is creating a vacuum. And as the old power structures are sucked into the abyss, a new authority is rising from within the households of the chosen. Think about the logic of the Trojan horse. The enemy thinks they have successfully locked down the chosen. They think they have marginalized you, silenced you, and confined you to your homes. They are celebrating their perceived victory, thinking they have cleared the field for their new world order. But they don't realize that they haven't trapped you, they have concentrated you. A chosen one staying inside is like a pressure cooker of divine anointing. The more they squeeze you, the higher the internal pressure of the Spirit becomes. Archangel Michael is overseeing this compression. He is waiting for the exact millisecond when the internal pressure of the chosen exceeds the structural integrity of the enemy's system. This is the counter-strike from within. While you are in sitsa, mas, you are engaging in a type of warfare that the globalist elite cannot defend against. They have weapons for physical protests. They have algorithms for digital dissent. But they have no defense against a worshipping household. When you stay inside and you begin to praise the Creator in the midst of the collapse, you are releasing a frequency that literally dismantles the nanotechnology of fear. You are creating a sanctuary of sound that acts as a frequency jammer against the enemy's broadcast. Archangel Michael and his legions are drawn to that sound. They use your internal worship as a GPS beacon to target the strongholds of the elite. The real collapse is also a collapse of centralized power. The enemy wants everything centralized: one world bank, one world government, one world religion. But God is decentralizing His power into the homes of the chosen. Every inside location where a chosen one stands is becoming a nerve center for the new restoration. You are becoming a micro-embassy of heaven. This is why staying inside is so dangerous to the elite. They can't raid 1,000,000 homes simultaneously. They can't censor a conversation between a father and his son in a quiet living room. They can't track the prayers that are rising from a secret closet. By staying inside, you are going dark on their grid, but lighting up on the kingdom grid. Look at the leader-led strategy for the offensive. Michael is not just a protector, he is an information specialist. When you stay inside and quiet the noise of the world, he begins to download strategic intel into your spirit. You will start to have ideas that are not your own. You will see solutions to complex problems that the experts are baffled by. You will have visions of the aftermath, a vision of how to rebuild the economy, how to restore the family, and how to heal the land. This is the wealth of the interior. The real gold of 2026 is not in the vaults of the BIS. It is in the revealed wisdom of the chosen ones who stayed inside. Why is the real collapse happening now? Because the cup of iniquity of the globalists is full. They have reached the limit of their stolen time. Like the builders of the Tower of Babel, they have tried to reach the heavens through their own technology and their own God complex. But the general of the host is already descending to see their work. He is bringing a confusion of tongues to their boardrooms. Have you noticed how the elite are starting to fight amongst themselves? Have you noticed the whistleblowers emerging from the shadows? That is the result of the internal pressure created by the chosen. Your staying inside is causing their system to overheat. The enemy wants to lure you out with false flags. They want to create a crisis of conscience that makes you feel like you have to go out and do something. But Michael is saying, wait for the signal. In the military, there is a concept called trigger lines. You don't fire until the enemy crosses a specific line. If you fire too early, you give away your position. If you fire too late, you are overrun. Michael is the one with his finger on the trigger line. He knows the exact moment when the collapse has reached the point of no return for the enemy. Until that moment, your most powerful action is your purposeful inaction. Stay inside the Word. The Bible is not just a book of stories, it is a tactical manual for the end of the age. It contains the codes for every situation you will face. When the real collapse hits the energy sector, read about the light in Goshen. When it hits the food supply, read about the widow's oil. When it hits the legal system, read about the courtrooms of heaven. Archangel Michael is the librarian of the light. He will help you find the key verse that unlocks your specific breakthrough. This is the great withdrawal. We are withdrawing our consent, our attention, and our life force from the beast system. When the chosen withdraw, the system loses its foundation. The real collapse is the sound of the void left behind by the chosen. You are the pillars that were holding up the roof of the old world. By moving inside the kingdom, you have let the roof fall on the heads of the Philistines. It is a Samson moment on a global scale. The general is checking the internal guard. He is walking through the corridors of your heart. He is looking for total allegiance. He is looking for the person who says, I don't need the world's validation. I don't need the world's applaud. And I definitely don't need the world's permission. I have the approval of the king and the protection of the prince. When he finds that person, he marks them with a mark of distinction that even the demons can see. Do not be afraid of the silence. The silence is where the power is generated. The elite are loud because they are empty. They use volume to hide their vulnerability, but the chosen are quiet because they are full. You are pregnant with the future. You are carrying the restoration. Stay inside the womb of grace until the fullness of time. In the next part, we are going to look at the final conflict of the threshold. We are going to talk about the moment the enemy tries to force the door and how Archangel Michael handles the intrusion. This is the moment of the ultimate stand. The real collapse is about to meet the real authority. Can you feel the charge in the air? The ground is starting to tremble. The commander is taking his place at the gate. The threshold is where the battle of the ages is decided. In every ancient fortress, the gateway was the strongest point, but it was also the point of maximum pressure. As the real collapse reaches its peak, the enemy will grow desperate. They will realize that their digital traps and their psychological warfare haven't worked on you. They will see that while the rest of the world is falling apart, your household is a zone of sovereignty. This is the fifth stage of our tactical briefing, the conflict of the threshold. This is the moment when the enemy tries to force the door, and you learn the true meaning of having a Prince of Heaven as your sentinel. You must understand the nature of the final intrusion. The enemy won't just come with physical force. They will come with legal claims. They will use the laws of the collapse to try and justify their entry into your life. They will claim that because of the national emergency, your property, your children, and your very body belong to the state. They will use health mandates or financial stability acts as a battering ram against your front door. This is the bait we talked about earlier, a crisis designed to make you feel like you have to comply to survive. But Archangel Michael is standing at the threshold, and he is holding a higher decree. In the kingdom of heaven, there is a concept of sanctuary. When a place is dedicated to the Creator, it becomes extraterritorial. It means the laws of the surrounding, failing nation no longer apply within those walls. When you stayed inside and consecrated your home, you turned your living room into an embassy of Zion. Archangel Michael is the chief of security for that embassy. Or when the agents of the collapse come to your door with their papers and their demands, they aren't just dealing with you, they are dealing with the diplomatic immunity of the King of Kings. The real collapse is designed to make you feel small and unprotected. The elite want you to think that you are just an individual against a global machine. But Michael is here to remind you that you are a member of a body. You are part of an army that spans dimensions. When the enemy puts pressure on your threshold, they are triggering a response protocol from the host of heaven. You don't have to shout. You don't have to argue. You don't even have to defend yourself. You simply have to stand behind the mark. You have to refuse to sign their papers. You have to refuse to accept their narrative. Your no is the key that Michael uses to lock the door from the other side. Why is the real collapse so violent in its rhetoric right now? Because the elite are losing their legal standing in the spirit realm. Their contract with this planet is expiring. They are like squatters who know the sheriff is on his way, so they are trying to do as much damage as possible before they are evicted. They want to take as many chosen ones down with them as they can. They want to foreclose on your destiny. But Michael is the great evictor. He is the one who cast the original squatter Lucifer out of the celestial realms. He knows exactly how to handle a bully who thinks he owns the place. Stay inside the silence of the Lamb. Remember how Jesus stood before Pilate. He didn't defend himself with words of the world. He stayed inside his identity. He knew that Pilate had no power except what was given from above. When the collapse knocks on your door, do not respond with panic speech. Respond with presence. The presence of the chosen is a radiation that causes the enemy to wither. There is a weight to a person who has stayed inside the secret place. It is the weight of glory. When you open your door, if you choose to at all, the enemy should feel like they have just walked into a wall of fire. The general is training you for the ultimate stand. This is not a stand of fear, but a stand of authority. You are not defending your home as much as you are occupying it for the king. Every square inch of your property is covenant ground. Every person inside your perimeter is under heavenly escort. The real collapse can burn down the Bank of America. It can burn down the mainstream media. And it can burn down the political cabal, but it cannot cross the line of the blood. Michael has drawn that line with his sword. The threshold is also the place of transition. Once the force of the collapse has spent itself against the door of the chosen. The door will open, but not for the enemy to come in. It will open for the chosen to go out. But you will not go out as a victim. You will go out as a victor. You will go out to reclaim the territory that the enemy has abandoned in his retreat. You will go out to restore the families that were broken. You will go out to rebuild the ruins. But that going out only happens after the staying inside has completed its work. The elite think they are refining their control. They think their digital surveillance will catch everyone. But they have a blind spot the size of the kingdom. They cannot see what they cannot frequency match. If your frequency is fear, they see you. If your frequency is anger, they see you. But if your frequency is divine peace, the peace that comes from staying inside you are invisible to their sensors. You are a ghost in their machine. Michael is the master of stealth, and he is teaching you how to move under the radar of the New World Order. This is the great sifting of the threshold. The real collapse is pushing everyone to a point of decision. You cannot be neutral anymore. You are either inside the ark or in the flood. You are either under the shield or in the storm. The third call to stay in Sidamdard was the final boarding call. The door is being shut and sealed by the hand of the Creator. It is not a seal of imprisonment, but a seal of preservation. Do not be tempted by the last-minute offers of the system. They might offer you temporary relief or safety in exchange for a small compromise. That is the last trap. It is the Judas kiss of the globalists. They want to mark you before the shift is complete. But you already have a mark. You have the seal of the living God on your forehead. Archangel Michael recognizes that seal. He is duty-bound to protect it with every resource of the throne room. The real collapse is the end of the age of man and the beginning of the age of the spirit. We are the bridge between the two. By staying inside the bridge, We ensure that the seeds of the future make it across. You are carrying the DNA of the new Earth. You are preserving the light for the generations to come. This is a high-stakes commission. It is the reason you were born. The general is stationed at the portal. He is looking out into the chaos of the world, and he is not blinking. He is not worried. He is not surprised. He is ready. And because he is ready, you are ready. The real collapse has begun. But for the chosen one, it is just the great clearing before the great restoration. In the final part, we are going to look at the emergence. We are going to talk about the moment of the shout, and how the chosen will step out of their homes to find a world that has been transformed by the intervention of the host. The lockdown is almost over. The activation is about to begin. Can you feel the stillness before the storm? The commander is whispering the final word. The moment of the emergence is approaching, but it requires one final act of absolute discipline. You must understand that the real collapse is not just an ending, it is a vibration. As the old systems of the globalists shatter, they release a frequency of pure chaos. This is why the command to stay inside is so critical in these final hours. If you step out too early, you risk being caught in the structural collapse of the enemy's house. Archangel Michael is watching the stress lines of the world's power grid. He is waiting for the 0 point, the moment when the old world has fully spent its rage and the new world is ready to be birthed. This is the stage of the sovereign emergence. Think about the order of the lion. When a lion is about to pounce, it doesn't move. It is so still that it becomes part of the landscape. The prey thinks the lion is gone, or perhaps it thinks the lion is dead. This strategic stillness is what Michael is perfecting in the Chosen One. The elite are looking at their surveillance screens, and they see millions of quiet homes. They think they have won. They think the chosen ones have been successfully domesticated and suppressed. They are laughing in their bunkers, clinking their glasses, and celebrating the Great Reset. But they don't realize that the stillness of the chosen is not submission. It is loading. Every hour you stay inside, every prayer you utter in the silence, and every act of faith you perform behind closed doors is adding potential energy to the kingdom grid. You are like a battery being charged to its maximum capacity. When the real collapse hits the floor, when the digital currencies fail, when the propaganda machines go dark, and when the elites realize their bunkers are just expensive tombs, that is when the signal will be given. It won't be a signal from a TV station or a smartphone. It will be a resonance in your very bones. It will be the shout of the archangel that vibrates through the dimensions. When that signal comes, you will step out of your door, but you will not step out as the same person who went in. You will step out as a regent of the restoration. You will look at the ruins of the old world, the empty office buildings, the abandoned luxury of the corrupt, the broken systems of control. And you will not feel fear. You will feel compassion for the lost, but you will feel authority over the land. Archangel Michael will be walking beside you, no longer as a hidden sentinel, but as a visible partner in justice. The emergence is the moment the stealth phase ends and the manifestation phase begins. The real collapse is the clearing of the ground for your inheritance. For too long, the chosen ones have been tenants in a world owned by slum lords. You've paid the taxes of their wars. You've endured the interests of their debt, and you've breathed the toxins of their greed. But the slumlords are being evicted by the Supreme Court of Heaven. Michael is the enforcer of that eviction. When you step out, you are stepping out to claim the deed, and you are the heirs of the earth. This is why the elite are so desperate to keep you inside your fear. They know that once you realize the ownership has shifted, their game is over. What will the restoration look like? It will be leader-led from the ground up. It won't be a centralized government telling you how to live. It will be chosen ones in every community people who stayed inside and heard the intel from Michael stepping into roles of service and sovereignty. You will know how to heal without their chemicals. You will know how to trade without their digital chains. You will know how to teach without their indoctrination. And the real collapse is the death of the middleman. It is the direct connection between the Creator and his people being restored. The general is checking the internal compass one last time. He is making sure your frequency is tuned to love and power, not vengeance and hate. If you step out with vengeance, you will just become the new tyrant. But if you step out with restoration, you will become the new blessing. This is why the tomb phase was so long and so difficult. It was refining your heart. It was stripping away the desire for status and replacing it with a hunger for righteousness. Michael is a warrior of purity. He only partners with those whose swords are clean. Do not be distracted by the final screams of the system. As the real collapse swallows the deep state and the global cabal, they will try to create one last mass trauma. They will try to broadcast images of horror to pull you back into the vibration of death. Stay inside. Do not look back. Like Lot's wife, if you look back at the Sodom of the old world with longing or fear, you will be fixed in that dimension. Look forward. Look at the mountain of the Lord. Look at the new horizon that is already beginning to glow with the dawn of the 1,000 years. The chosen ones are the bridges to the new era. By staying inside during the real collapse, you have protected the seed of the future. Now, you are ready to sow that seed into the fresh soil of a world that has been purged by fire. The general is standing at the exit. He is holding the standard of victory high. He is looking at you with the pride of a commander who knows his troops have held the line against impossible odds. The real collapse has begun. But for you, it is the real beginning. The lockdown was your lifting. The isolation was your instruction. The silence was your strength. Now the shout is coming. The atmosphere is brittle. The light is pressing against the veil. Are you ready to emerge? Are you ready to lead? Are you ready to inhabit the promise? The general is giving the final nod. This tactical briefing is more than a warning. It is a commissioning. We have walked through the shadows of the collapse and found the light of the interior. We have seen that the command to stay in is not an act of cowardice, but an act of covenant sovereignty. As the real collapse dismantles the theaters of men, the theater of God is being unveiled. The chosen one is the protagonist of this new chapter. The meaning of this entire journey is simple. The security of the world is a lie, but the security of the word is eternal. The globalist elite have spent their lives building digital bunkers and financial fortresses, but they forgot that the earth, belongs to the meek. They forgot that Archangel Michael doesn't work for money. He works for justice. The real collapse is the self-destruction of greed, and your staying inside is your protection from the blast radius. The lesson for every chosen one listening right now is your peace is your power. If the enemy can take your peace, he can take your position. But if you stay inside the peace, you are invincible. The collapse can take your job, it can take your digital currency, and it can take your social status, but it cannot take your identity. And in the new restoration, identity is the only capital that matters. You are a child of the King, a warrior of the host, and a co-heir with Christ. That is your asset sheet, and it is audit-proof. As this video ends, I want you to feel the weight of the General's presence in your room. He is not a figment of your imagination. He is a prince of the heavenly host, and he has been assigned to your coordinates. He is logging your response. He is noting your resolve. This is the end of the information phase and the beginning of the manifestation phase. What you do in the secret place today will determine what you rule in the public place tomorrow. The real collapse is here. The sirens are real. The shaking is real. But the ark is also real. Stay inside the grace. Stay inside the truth. Stay inside the master plan. We are the generations that will see the turnaround. We are the ones who will say to our children, "We stayed inside when the world fell apart, and because we did, we are here to help you rebuild it." The Archangel of the Threshold is giving the final salute. He is closing the briefing. The rest is up to you. If you have heard the General's command, and you are choosing to stay in cities of the peace and the protection of the kingdom, then you are a marker for the restoration. If you are committing to hold your post and stay inside the divine perimeter, please comment 999 below. This is your covenant response. It tells the community and the host that another lighthouse has been activated. If you are feeling overwhelmed, or if you need reinforcements in your faith, please comment 0. We are a body, and no chosen one stands alone. We will lift you up in the spirit. Or share your intel. How has the real collapse manifested in your life? And how has staying inside saved your peace? Your inside story could be the key for someone else's breakthrough. And before you go, subscribe to this channel. This is your satellite feed for the new restoration. We are not just watching the collapse, we are mapping the victory. You need to stay connected to the remnant frequency as the global noise gets louder. Stay inside the glory. Stay bold in the quiet. The General has your back, and the King is on the throne. God bless you, and God bless the chosen who stay the course.